Come on, we've all played Mortal Kombat at some point, right? Yes, I mean the video game that started as an arcade in 1992, developed by Midway, and was a huge success, thanks to its quality and to the signed players. Violent endings that finished the fights with extreme sadism, which of course caused a huge public controversy. But did you know that one of its most famous characters is inspired by a real warrior? One who sought power in the world of the dead to take revenge among the living. Get ready and don't even think about missing the end, because I am El Documentalista, and this is Mortal Kombat. Scorpion. From the shadows to the light, from mystery and intrigue. And I discovered that in the midst of truth, there are parallel worlds. And through my mistakes, I learned humility, making a pact with the heavens. I am El Documentalista. First of all, give this video a like, subscribe, share it, and leave me a comment. Who did you play Mortal Kombat with as a kid? Let's get started. Let's quickly review the character's biography and traits in 30 seconds. Scorpion, also known as Hanzo Hasashi, is one of the most iconic fighters in Mortal Kombat. He was a ninja warrior from the Shirai Ryu clan, who was killed along with his entire family and village by the rival Lin Kuei clan. After his death, Hanzo was resurrected in the Netherrealm and turned into a fiery specter. His main motivation is to avenge the massacre of his people and destroy those he holds responsible, especially Sub-Zero. However, over time, his path becomes more nuanced, shifting between vengeance, redemption, and the pursuit of justice. But what made him so special? Without a doubt, his combat moves and weapons. Among them, a kunai with a chain that he throws to pull enemies in with his famous shout, "Get over here!" He also wields swords, axes, and his powers come from his spectral state, which gives him control over hellfire, teleportations, summoning flames, and the ability to manipulate heat to burn his enemies. Scorpio is a tragic and complex character. Although he was created as a vengeful villain in many installments of the saga, he evolves into an anti-hero who fights to protect his reborn clan and restore his honor. Now, in real life, there was a ninja named Sasori no Ansatsucha, the assassin Scorpio. He left a record of his life in a writing from 1586, where he tells about his long path to revenge, after his entire family was massacred and he himself was left for dead. In case you didn't know, a ninja was basically a secret agent and mercenary in feudal Japan, specialized in espionage, infiltration, sabotage, and assassinations, whose origin dates back to the 15th and 16th centuries during times of civil wars. Unlike the samurai, who followed a strict code of honor, ninjas operated in the shadows and used unconventional warfare techniques, known as ninjutsu, to gain advantages over their enemies. And the one we're interested in today, Sasori no Ansatsucha, the source of inspiration for creating Scorpio, recounted his odyssey to a scribe in the following way. Pay attention. My house was simple, made of wood and straw, camouflaged near the mountains. I built it as I was taught, to appear as just a simple farmer during the day. But in reality, it was full of traps and secret escape routes. I was 26 years old when I came back from death and found my wife and my 2 children murdered. I couldn't understand what had gone wrong. They were trained and knew what to do, but they didn't stand a chance. The killer didn't come at night. He didn't come with his face covered, nor did he lurk outside waiting for an opportunity. Their bodies were on their knees. The rice served killed them while he ate with them. I instantly knew who it was. His name was Saburo, and he was my wife's beloved brother, the uncle of my children. A dishonorable traitor, bribed by my enemies, exploited my family's trust and love to kill them. The intention was clear: to take away from me the only thing that gave me peace and happiness in this miserable world, full of pain. To pay me back in the same way. Because yes, I have taken the lives of hundreds and earned my name Sasori, not Ansatsucha, for being the best of the shinobi. When I was just a 6-year-old boy, I was taken to the mountainous regions of IGA. The clan masters handled my training. The first thing I learned was to walk and run without being heard, even on mud or snow. The second thing was to remain motionless for hours and hours among the vegetation, waiting for the right moment. My first solo mission was at 14 years old. My lord wanted to negotiate a peace agreement with one of his rivals, but first he wanted to make sure he had the best army and high morale among his troops. So he sent me into the darkness with a single purpose: to find and assassinate the 3 samurai guarding his enemy. They called me Sasori, the Scorpion, because out of all the weapons, I preferred the Kyoketsu Shosei. A double-edged blade attached to a 6-meter-long chain and a metal ring at the end, so it would never slip from my grasp. Training had given me the skill of a master, but training was one thing, and reality was something very different. Being there, on the roof of Cairo Castle, fortified against the enemy, hidden in that moonless night, waiting for the exact moment to attack. The 3 samurai turned off their lamps. I waited a little longer and then jumped. I landed without making the slightest sound and walked toward the houses. I caught the first one sleeping, as is their custom. With his 2 swords at hand, they never part from them. I stabbed him in the neck so he couldn't scream. The second was with his wife. I entered quietly, but the woman had her eyes open, and even though she couldn't see me in the dark, she sensed something and turned on the lamp. By the time she started screaming, I had already done exactly what I had been taught. First, I dealt with a samurai and stabbed him in the throat like the other. But I left the woman alive. I needed her to scream. And when she did, the 3rd samurai arrived with his sword in hand, not realizing I was stalking him from the side. I threw my Kyoketsu Choge and it stuck in his chest. I pulled with all my strength to bring him to me, but he broke free and fell at my feet. A piece of his heart was left on the metal blade when the woman screamed again. I had already left. From that day on, I became a legend and earned my full name, Sasori the Assassin. That's what they called me. Everything worsened because my lord and his rival never negotiated absolute peace. Every autumn of the white leaves, he would send me to track and assassinate his generals, or worse, someone from his family. And for that, I had to enter the enemy's castle. The years went by, and there was a price on my head. No one knew my true identity, only my lord and his guards. Among them was my wife's brother, the uncle of my children. Named Saburo, the one who ended up betraying me for money. Beforehand, he made sure that I would never return from the mission my lord had entrusted to me. Nothing too complicated. Kill the guards inside the enemy barns and then set them on fire. But someone named Saburo warned them, and when I entered through one of the upper openings and fell inside, I found neither the food supplies nor the guards. I was only surrounded by explosive jars and pots, and not even a second later, I saw the flaming arrow fall The explosion deafened me and the flames burned my body. When I escaped, 2 archers shot at me. I threw myself into the pond to put out the flames, and when I came out on the other side, I hid in the dense vegetation of the forest. Only then did I realize that I had an arrow stuck in my back and 2 deep cuts on my legs that wouldn't stop bleeding. I walked until I collapsed. Death, my ally? At night, Veino came looking for me. I closed my eyes and prepared to leave. When I opened them again, I was in Shigoku, in the land of suffering, in hell, where I was condemned for 4 generations. Every day, a demon wearing red armor tied me to a tree. With his sword, he cut me open from top to bottom and then left, leaving his 3 black bears to feed on me. No matter how much they tore me apart, I wouldn't die there, and when the bears walked away satisfied, I would start to heal. Until the next sunrise. But something changed on the 4th night. The demon couldn't open my body. He got furious and yelled at me. "Is the witch Kojin of the forest your friend?" I was going to tell him that I didn't know any and didn't believe in those things, but I fell into a deep sleep, and when I woke up, I saw her. She was old, very old, small, and had a kind face, but her heart, like mine, was full of hatred. And she said to me, "I've been working on you for days, but here you are, back in the world of the living. Put on this suit. The yellow of the fires of hell will be your color. Now you are among us, but you are a reborn." The spells worked. The weapon I found by your side will no longer be necessary. Your new powers are linked to your life and your death. Now you can materialize any metal just by wishing for it. Fire will obey you. And just as you disappeared and returned, you will be able to turn into mist and appear wherever you wish. Why did I get you out of Jigoku? I'm sure you're thinking that question. So I'll say it straight, so we can make a deal. You can take revenge on those who betrayed you, and then you'll come back here and serve me. Because many years ago, I brought another one like you into this world. Someone who also knew the art of death. I gave him powers, but he didn't keep his part of the deal and escaped beyond the mountains. Nod your head. I made my oath and disappeared to materialize in my home. There I saw the scene of the massacre. After burying my family, I fled to my former lord. I stood in front of his castle and demanded a duel. With the traitor Yamada Saburo, the witch Kojin of the forest hadn't lied. Yamada Saburo came out with his sword in hand and his shiny black armor, but he kept his distance and asked who I was. I shouted at him, "I'm the Scorpion, and I'm going to avenge my wife and my children." He laughed and called me insane for coming unarmed to a duel. I was simply thinking about piercing him from a distance. And exactly as the witch had said, a spectral Kyoketsu Shuge materialized, shooting out from my hand at full speed and stabbing straight into the middle of his chest. Exultant, I said to him, "Come here." When I pulled the chain and dragged the bastard within reach of my feet, I kicked him in the head, and then with one hand, I summoned the power of fire. The traitor was engulfed in flames that didn't go out until he turned to ashes. I went back to the forest craving more power. I wanted it all, and Kojin, that wise old woman, promised me I would have it, but only if I searched. Defeated the reborn one who had abandoned her, without meeting his obligations. I bowed my head as a sign of respect, and the witch told me, "I don't want you to get confused. This won't be easy. I found him too many years before I found you. His body was frozen, He had died in the winter of the blue leaves, and the spells to bring him back to life gave him powers. He controls ice willpower, and I have news that he fights against ancient wizards and warriors from distant lands. They call him Jonin Reika, the Blue Ninja, the Frozen Assassin. And I repeat, this won't be easy. In fact, it will be a deadly fight. Finish her.